Brought to you by 1AAuto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet.
Hi, I'm Don from 1A Auto. I hope this how-to video helps you out. And the next time you need a part for your vehicle, think of 1AAuto.com. Thanks.
In this video, we're going to show you how to remove and reinstall rear brakes. We find that the brakes on this 2003 Maxima are actually in good shape, so we just take them off and put them back on to show you how the process works. And you'll need new pads and rotors from 1AAuto.com. We show you the right-hand side. Obviously, the left-hand side is the same procedure, and we do always recommend you replace brakes in pairs. You'll need jack and jack stands, 14, 17, and 21 millimeter sockets, ratchet, and either a breaker bar or a pipe for some extra leverage, screwdriver, a caliper reset tool, and some brake or some white grease. And just one tip, make sure that your parking brake is not set, because it engages the caliper and you won't be able to get your brakes apart if your parking brake is on. Start by removing your wheel and tire. If you don't have the benefit of air tools, start with your vehicle on the ground, loosen the lug nuts, then raise and support the vehicle and move the lug nuts, wheel, and tire.
We're going to remove two 14 millimeter caliper bolts using 14 millimeter socket or 3/8 inch ratchet.
And as you can see, those bolts should not be in there that tight. They're usually tightened to about 20 to 25 foot-pounds.
We're going to use a flathead screwdriver to free up the caliper off of the caliper bracket simply by placing it in against the rotor and pulling up against the caliper, going back and forth between top and bottom until the caliper comes off. At this point we can remove brake pads, clip on the bottom on the inside, no clip on the outside, two shims. We've got a caliper reset tool where you can get this at any place automotive tools are sold, and we've matched up the pattern with the pattern on the caliper, and we're using a 3/8 inch drive and applying pressure and turning at the same time.
Okay, so you want to turn it clockwise and push in, and that should push the caliper or the piston back into the caliper.
And before you're going to be able to put this back on and have the brake pads aligned, the bottom notch, your notches have to be up, down, left, and right. We're going to remove the two 17 millimeter bolts that hold the caliper bracket on.
And fast forward as we remove those the rest of the way. As you can see, they take some pretty good initial force, but then they come out fairly easily.
Putting the caliper guide back on.
Okay, and we'll fast forward here. Make sure you get both bolts in, then tighten them up. And when you torque these, you want to torque them between 65 and 70 foot-pounds.
Before I'm putting the caliper back on, I'm going to make sure that the two slides move freely. If they don't, you can pull them out, clean them up, and put a little grease on them, slide them back in, and re-secure the boot. Putting the brake pad springs back in place. I've applied some brake grease to the pad. I'm going to put it on the back and to the edges that sit in the caliper. if you experience any resistance and it's just not going on smoothly, double check to make sure that your piston is in the right position.
And fast forward again. Again, we put both bolts in first, make sure they're going in correctly, then tighten them. And when you tighten these, you only want to tighten them to probably about 23 to 25 foot-pounds. Now you can reinstall your wheel and tire. Put the lug nuts on by hand first, make sure you don't cross-thread them, then tighten them up preliminarily. And with the vehicle back down on the ground, tighten your lug nuts to 100 foot-pounds each using a star pattern.
Anytime we do brake work, just make sure that we get in, pump the brakes a bunch of times, make sure you have a good solid pedal, and then do test stops from 5 and 10 miles an hour before road testing the vehicle.
We hope this helps you out. Brought to you by www.1aauto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet. Please feel free to call us toll-free 888-844-3393. We're the company that's here for you on the internet and in person.